English via Art, Speak, Read and Write series number 5. To read, reader, reading, book, news, newspaper. How to practice listening and speaking. Watch the video, listen and read silently. To understand the content, pause the video as often as necessary. Watch the video again, listen and read aloud. Then mute the video, watch and read aloud. Repeat until you pronounce easily, sound natural, and speak confidently. To read, read, read. To see and understand something in writing. Reading, reading a story. Reading the news. Reading a book. Woman in blue reading a letter. Young woman reading an illustrated journal. Girl reading a letter at an open window. Saint Jerome reading a letter. Reading. Man reading. Girl reading palm. Schoolgirl reading. Portrait of Rhodo reading. Karen reading. The reading lesson. Don Quixote reading. Woman reading in a landscape. Reading a letter. Annalie reading. Reading monk. Reader, a person who reads for pleasure. The reader. The reader. The pensive reader. The reader, young woman reading a book. The novel reader. Reading, a time when something is read to an audience. The reading. The reading. Book, something written on many pages that are joined together and protected by a cover. Reading a book. Madonna of the book. Woman with book. Book of doves. Book of doves. Book of the sea. The book. Book transforming itself into a nude woman. The open book. Book. Book of time. A monk with a book. The book. Seated woman with a spelling book. Daydreaming bookkeeper. Adventure. A bookstore. News. Information about events. On the way. Bad news from France. Blind news dealer. News. News. Indianapolis newsboy, 41 inches high. Newspaper, a weekly or a daily publication printed on paper. The artist's father reading his newspaper. Le Monde newspaper and framed portrait. Portrait of a man with a newspaper. Glass, pipe and newspaper. Glass, cup and newspaper. Still life with newspaper. Thomas Sergeant Perry reading a newspaper. Jumble of skeletons of newspaper boys. Desir Dehor reading a newspaper in the garden. Boys selling newspapers on Brooklyn Bridge. Man reading a newspaper. Newspaper seller. Newspaper man in Paris. The newspaper.